Welcome back. The Scent of Change is a powerful musical production presented by the Durban University of Technology's Drama and Production Studies Department. It explores a pivotal moment in South African history, the integration of Black and Indian students in public schools during the late 1980s and early 1990s. But to give us more information and context on this production, we're joined by Dr. Rowin Munsamy, the writer and director of this captivating new musical. Dr. Rowin, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Morning, and thank you for having me. I apologize for my voice.
Well, thank you. We're just grateful that you woke up to speak to us this morning. First of all, what inspired you to create The Scent of Change, and why is this story so important to tell?
Well, I wanted to write a new musical. I've been writing a lot of plays, so I wanted to try writing a musical. And I thought, what point in my history do I feel the most passionate about speaking about? And I thought, this moment in history nobody speaks about. Everybody speaks about the release of Nelson Mandela from prison, our freedom in 1994, our constitution, but they don't speak about the trial run that we had in the late 1980s in the Indian schools in Chatsworth.
And can you elaborate perhaps on the historical context of the production and its significance in South African history?
It speaks about a time in history where the government tested the waters of integration, where Black students were introduced into Indian schools in Chatsworth, not a whole lot of them, but a few at a time, just see if we would get along, if we could break the shackles of apartheid and find this unity in our communities. And we did for a little while.
And how then does Scent of Change tell that particular story or tell that aspect of our history?
It speaks about what the parents felt about the time. The Indian parents are speaking from an Indian point of view, and a little bit of the African point of view. It speaks about how the children interacted with each other and how the adults and their speakings or their teachings fused or ignited hatred in them.
Now, Dr. Rowin, how do you think this production will resonate with your audiences, especially those who lived in that aspect of history or during that era?
Well, I'm hoping they will have a nostalgic review of that time in history, and it will remind them of a time where, even though we were so segregated, there was still a little bit of hope that we would finally break the shackles of apartheid.
Now, I see that the musical features original music and lyrics. So what is the creative process like for crafting these elements together?
I mean, I would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and rhyme words. I can rhyme a lot of things with end at the moment. But I just wrote poetry, and our musical director, Zenith Trevani, she's fantastic. She put composition to it. She put rhythm to it. She put tempos to it. She changed the language in some places, which was fantastic. So she made it more local than I could.
Let's talk about your collaboration with the students and the creative team to bring the story to life. I mean, how was it, and were your visions aligned?
A lot of my visions aligned. I had one of my students also try to assist with compositions. We've got our choreographer, which is Charlie. He's our dance lecturer. He did a fantastic job with the choreography. The students themselves, I mean, they embraced this project. Even though it was a time in history that they don't know about or they didn't live through, they are so genuine in their performances, and they're so giving in telling this important story, and they know the importance of the story.
You know, I know that at conceptualization stage, so many musical directors, they struggle, to strike that balance between historical accuracy and artistic expression. So how were you able to strike that balance? Well,
I didn't want it to be all doom and gloom about how the politics of apartheid was affecting us people.
Okay.
So to have an artistic point of view, I included a love story between Preshni and James, a Black student and an Indian student, which brings the artistic quality to life in the play. Their love story, their romance, and their eventual demise in the end is a testament to the times of the political times of the late 80s.
Yeah. And I see that the cast consists of third-year students. So what do you hope they will take away from this musical experience?
I mean, for them, it's their final performance with us. I'm hoping for them it's the culmination of all 3 years of their teaching and their learning comes into this production, and they leave everything on that stage where they get to perform, they get to showcase to the world what we've taught them and what they've learned over the years. And it's not because we're charging for tickets, we try and push them as much as we can. It's different to the other assessments where they are just assessed by a staff and an external examiner. This one, they are also being judged by the public. So I'm hoping that they take away some professionalism, a little bit of joy for this form of theatre, and a little bit of respect for what their craft is.
And the sense of change, how does it then contribute to, the broader conversation about South Africa's past, present and future?
It reminds us of our past, and the hope that we had, and that same hope we have today that we will. I mean, we say apartheid is finished and segregation is over, but there's still remnants. There's still a little bit of it around, and hopefully that we will grow as a nation, and we will grow to a place where we are finally united, completely in all aspects of our country and our life and our politics.
Right. All right, Dr. Munsamy, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Feel better.
Good morning.
All right, many thanks to Dr. Rowin Munsamy for sharing the story behind the scent of change. Now, this musical production showcases the stories of our transition into democracy, and it showcases the talent and the dedication of the cast and the crew. The Scent of Change runs from October the 28th to the 31st at the Courtyard Theatre at the Durban University of Technology.